Hello and welcome to Radio Public Library House Cafe, a slice of happiness. I would like you to welcome Renee, a registered psychologist from Primary Care Network, and Shannon, a registered nurse from Primary Care Network, who are going to talk today about how we can be a little bit happier in those trying times and beyond. Well, welcome, and Renee is our first speaker.
Thank you for joining us today. I'm just going to pull up my slides. All right. So welcome to a little slice of happiness. So we are going to do some skills with you this morning, and we'll just teach them to you. And if you want to watch this later and try out some ways to be happier, then you can always come back and do that for yourself. So we are going to learn 5 skills this morning. So we will be experiencing the meaningful photo skill, and I will demonstrate that for you. We will learn a little bit about our program and what positive psychology is. We're going to experience the what went well skill. And then Shannon is going to lead you through some other experiences. So we're going to do the thinking and writing about positive events skill. And then she will share some fun activities in the Mindful Minute Blitz. And then we will do the count your blessing skill before we end our time with you today. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the meaningful photo skill. So we know that taking time to recognize and appreciate sources of meaning through photography can help things be more tangible and serve as a reminder of what matters most to us. So if you think of photos on your cell phone, typically we don't take pictures of things unless they're important to us. So when we reflect on those photos, we can have a greater sense of meaning. And when we are having more meaning in our life, we find that we can pursue more important goals. And having meaning also gives us a sense of strength and purpose when we're coping with stressful life events like during this time. Now, what's cool about using photography is it also might benefit people who are more visual than verbal. So if any teachers or parents are watching this photo or watching our Facebook event, they may keep this in mind as they approach conversations with students or children about what's meaningful, purposeful in their life and what values they may have. So I'm going to share a photo with you and demonstrate the skill, and then I'm going to tell you what the research says about how helpful it is. Okay, hold on. Now I can't find my picture. Just a second. Okay. Oops. Oh no, technology. Hold on, I have a picture to share with you. Just a second. Okay. All right, here we go. So this picture is something I'm really proud of. So this is a hike that my husband and I did last summer. So during COVID, of course, we still wanted to get away for vacation, but instead of traveling too far, we went to Jasper. So this is called, maybe some of you have been here before, this is called the Valley of the 5 Lakes hike. And there's 5 lakes along this hike that you get to experience. And after a very long day of hiking, this was the reward. And why it's so meaningful to me is it shows nature, where I realized that's really one of my happy places. We had a sense of accomplishment. We had a moment of serenity when we took in this beautiful scenery. And it was time where my husband and I were away from our kids and just went on a little getaway together. So what you would do is you would pick a photo that's important to you, and you would reflect on it. And sometimes this is fun to share with other people. So you would reflect on a photo from your cell phone or from anywhere in your home, and you would share a little bit about the photo, what it means, and why it's so important to you. And what's really neat about this exercise is a week after people did it, they reported feeling like they had more meaning in their lives, they had greater life satisfaction, and they had more positive emotions than they had beforehand. So that's one skill that you can try. Next, I just want to tell you a little bit about our program. So we have two formats of our Alberta Happiness Basics program. One is a 4-week version, which is typically run in other parts of the province, more so than us. And we usually run a 7-week version. So what happens is you join us for 2 hours a week for a workshop. And right now we are doing those workshops on Zoom. Appropriate participants really include people who want to be happier. So if you're struggling with mild to moderate levels of depression, this may be helpful for you. Or if you're wanting more meaning, more positive emotions in your life, this will be for you as well. However, it is not a replacement for therapy. So we do need you to be aware of that. In our Zoom classes, we have lots of engagement and action. So we send you into breakout rooms. We have lots of conversation. And what we find is that we do evaluations of our program, and we find that there is significant improvement overall in people's health and well-being. So typically, of course, we would do a check-in in our workshop. So you get to check in on the skills you've learned before, because we build on things each week. And then at the end, we do a checkout to set you up for success, so that even though we're on Zoom, you don't feel alone. We're really supporting you along the way with all of your skills. And by the end, you'll have several skills that you can pick from to improve your level of happiness. Now, just some quick results. We did find that 40% of the people who attended our program, people who attend our program at 40% less risk for depression. And there was also typically a 30% decrease in the level of negative emotions from the beginning of our workshop to the end. So just within 7 weeks, there's less emotions experienced. People also have an improvement in overall mental health, an improvement in energy, and a reduction in their experience of pain, because of course they're not thinking of their pain. They are focusing more on ways they can be happier. So they're not focused on things that are going wrong. Now, this program is based on the science of positive psychology, which sounds maybe like a fake thing, but it is actually the science of happiness. So it's not just focused on positivity, but it's also focused on engagement, so being engaged in your life, the importance of positive relationships, and the importance of meaning. So just like that meaningful photos exercise we just did, having a sense of accomplishment and having goals and achievements to look forward to, and then of course having more positive emotions. So this is based on the science and research behind what happier people do differently. And so we focus on the good and what's right with you. We focus on the present. There is an expectation of positivity in the class. And we focus on what we can do now to be happier and what we can do in the future. We also, I won't give you the answer in case you join our workshop, but a lot of happiness is in our control. So that's what we focus on. We don't focus on those things that might be against us, like maybe genetics. If we have someone in our family that might be struggling with depression, we may be more prone to depression, but because we can't control genetics, we don't focus on that. We focus on what's really in our control, and that's the skills that we teach you within the program. So we are going to do one more skill before I hand it over to Shannon. And so in this skill, so if there's, Tatiana, is there people joining us right now? I'm not sure how many people we have. She might be telling me in the chat box here.
There's
Shannon?
17 viewers, and someone
Okay.
from Red Deer says hi.
Someone from Red Deer says hi.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, hello. So if you're doing this along with us, I would encourage you to get a pen and paper so that you can do this skill along with me. So I actually did this, I kind of did this skill this morning, and I wrote some things down, and I reflected on the last 24 hours because it's so early in the morning. So typically we're going to do this skill at the end of the day. And what's really great about it is you can share this skill with family by having a conversation about it. So I want you, if you want to do this along with me right now, I would love you to record 3 good things or 3 things that went well for you in the last 24 hours. So they don't have to be huge things, but just 3 little things that went well in the last 24 hours. And I'd love you to write those down. And then there's one other part of the skill. And then I'm going to share with you the research behind it and why it's so helpful to our well-being. So this one actually packs a big punch. So if you want to try it, that would be great. So I'll give you a couple minutes to just reflect on that. Shannon, while that's happening, is there anything in the chat that we need to answer questions about yet? No? Okay. So recording 3 things that went well. And then beside each of those 3 things, I want you to answer the question, what is so great about this? So I've reflected on 3 good things in the last 24 hours. And then beside that, what is so great about this? So go ahead and write a little bit about what is so good about those 3 things that you've recorded. We have a few more people that have joined us recently, so welcome. You haven't missed much, so stay tuned. All right, and so I recorded a few things. They're not huge, but you'll see how impactful this exercise is. So the first thing I said is I had a great sleep last night. And what is so great about this is the night before I didn't sleep very well at all. So I finally had a great sleep. And this morning I woke up refreshed and energized. So that was a good thing. I also, because I was so refreshed and energized, I had a bit of time this morning to sit and have a quiet coffee. And then my little dog, Lily, joined me on my lap. And so I said, what else went well is a quiet moment with my puppy on my lap while I was drinking my coffee. What is so great about this? She helped center me in the moment. I had time to reflect on my day ahead, and then I started getting excited about spending time with you today. And then the last thing was something that happened last night. So I had a long day yesterday, and I worked away from home yesterday. And then when I came home, my husband had barbecued a nice dinner. What was so great about that is it was quite delicious. I felt taken care of, and I didn't have to worry about dinner. I just got to sit and relax once I arrived back home. All right, so hopefully you had a chance to reflect on some things as well. And so what is so good about doing this skill, and why does it pack such a punch for our levels of happiness? So research shows a few things. Highlighting the things that have went well really focuses on the positives in our day, which isn't typical for people. So we kind of have a negativity bias to our brain. It's not our fault, it's just how we're rigged. And when we focus on the positives, we tend to find more of those things. And then answering those questions about what's so great about this, or what makes this a good thing, right? It actually highlights the significance of the positive event And it encourages us to capitalize on that. And then when we share that conversation with others, so instead of asking our partner or children, how was your day? If you say to them, what went well today? A positive conversation ensues, and you find out about what is meaningful and important to them. So studies show that doing this for just 1 week, so you did it today if you're doing it with me, so just for 6 more days, just 1 week of doing this short exercise that only takes a couple minutes, actually results in increased happiness and less symptoms of depression for up to 6 months. So 1 week for 6 months, like a half a year more happiness for just 1 week of doing this short exercise. So that one is probably one of my favorites. That's a long-standing one in the science of positive psychology, but it is a good one. So I am going to stop sharing if Shannon's ready to get going. And then she's going to share some other skills with you. The technology just takes a second.
Hello. Can you see my screen okay? Can you hear me? I can't hear anybody, but unless somebody tells me otherwise, I'm going to just start. Thanks, Renee, for kicking us off. I'll do my best to keep the momentum going and start with our next skill, thinking and writing about a positive experience. Positive reminiscing helps us to re-experience positive emotions. By thinking and writing about a past positive experience or event, you can reap the benefits of that positive emotion, those positive emotions, because there's usually more than one, attached to that experience once more. Think of this as an instant boost in your mood. If you prefer, you can also use positive anticipation, which is basically thinking and writing about an upcoming positive event. So this is how this works. I want you to take some time and think about a past positive experience. It can be any time frame. The key is it has to be positive. Next, visualize this event as much detail as you can, and it often helps to focus on all of your senses. So what you hear, see, feel, smell, and taste. And then also you can ask yourself or focus on describing your surroundings and what you were thinking and feeling at the time. So for me, my example, when I was preparing for this presentation today, the first thing that came to my mind was one of the memories with my girls when we were body surfing on Tofino Beach, and this was in 2011. So that's 10 years ago. So if I was to tap into my senses and walk myself through this exact exercise, it could sound something like this. I can hear my girls and I as we were laughing and giggling and screaming as we caught the next wave. I can see the smiles on both of their faces. It's absolutely pure joy. I can feel the icy cold water. Our lips were blue, our hands were frozen, our teeth were even chattering. We even had wetsuits on, but we didn't want to stop. It was just so much fun. I can smell the sea air, the fresh, crisp, wet sea air. I can remember tasting the salty water, sea water. We drank a lot of water that day. It wasn't on purpose, it's because we're screaming so loud and we caught a lot of water. That even made us laugh. It was a sunny summer day. We had all the time in the world, no schedules, no timelines, just free time to do whatever we wanted to do. I remember feeling just so light and happy and childlike as we caught all the waves. As I said before, this was like 10 years ago, but I can still conjure up those feelings just now as I'm sharing them with you. And I get that injection of complete happiness, exhilaration, and just pure joy. So my question for you is, what comes up for you? If you're watching now, I'll just give you a few minutes to do this for yourself. And if if later you're watching this, you could press pause and just take 5 to 10 minutes to think and write about your own positive experience. So I'll just take a few minutes now. I won't pause too long. And you give it a go. So you'll need more time than I'm giving you now, but you can come back to this later, or just make a note of it, and you can do this for yourself after watching this presentation. I wanted to share a bit of research with you, because how we share and who we share our good news with can amplify and prolong our positive emotions. When we share our positive news with others who are truly pleased, excited, or curious about our news, we forge a stronger memory for it and savor in the details. The key, though, is to share positive news. Don't get caught in how you doing, wow, and go down that negative route. It's really focused on what is going well. Kind of like what Renee was saying, what's going well, the WW exercise. It can also help deepen your relationship with the listener who you're sharing your news with, because then they recognize the significance that this event holds for you. Benefit to writing about a positive event for 3 consecutive days. So you've already done one, will do one here today or shortly after this video. When you do it for 2 more days after this, so 3 days in total, consecutive days, all in a row, you can boost your mood for at least 3 months. 3 months. So you've already done this once, or you're going to do it shortly after this video. So I invite you to do this 2 more times over the next 2 days, 2-3 days, so that you too can experience a boost in your mood. So ask yourself, when will I set aside time over the next few days to continue this practice? And what moments do you want to revisit? Isn't he cute? Next, we're going to talk about practicing mindfulness. Practicing mindfulness can seem awkward and difficult at first. This is normal, and this is often a common theme in our class too. But to help you shake off the hesitation, I want to share an analogy of training a puppy, and how this can be like training mindfulness, this can be like practicing mindfulness for the first time or any time. So to start, you put the puppy down and you say, stay. Does the puppy listen? No. It gets up and it runs away. You sit the puppy down again and you say, stay. What does the puppy do? It runs all over, again and again. Sometimes it jumps up on your legs. Other times it runs over and pees in the corner and makes even other messes. Dirty, smelly messes, perhaps. But our minds are very similar to trying to train this puppy, only our minds can make even bigger messes. In training the mind or the puppy, we have to start over and over again. So don't be afraid of the words mindfulness and meditation. Practice will make it less awkward and it'll become more natural. So to help us practice, we're going to get ready and try some quick and easy mindfulness practices. So I want to introduce to you a mindfulness minute blitz. And it's our own version of a minute to win it. So during this blitz, you'll have the opportunity to explore and experiment with 4 techniques that promote engagement and mindfulness. Keep in mind, there's tons of mindfulness practices. We chose these 4 because they are brief, easy to learn, and appeal to most beginners. But we've also found that even the most seasoned practitioners appreciate their simplicity and ease of use. So how this is going to work, before each skill, I will explain it and demonstrate it. Then I will set a timer for 1 minute, and then we'll do the skill together. Are you ready to have some fun? So the first one is called tracing. Pardon me. So what I'd like you to do is to take the index finger of your chosen hand and start by holding it up. Imagine that this finger is like a pencil. Start at the base of the thumb of your other hand and slowly begin to trace your finger up and down each finger until you get to the other side of your wrist. Once you've completed tracing that hand, you're going to switch and do the same thing for the other hand and keep repeating the process for 1 minute. Okay, so I'm going to set my timer for 1 minute. You go at your own pace. I encourage you to go slowly, but you do what's comfortable for you. And when you hear the timer, then we'll stop. So I'm setting it. Ready, set, go. Okay, that's your first one done. Next, we're going to do one called muscle relaxation. So for this one, I encourage you just to sit back and close your eyes just as I read these instructions, or if you feel comfortable to do so. Start with your face, so at the top of your head. So squeeze every muscle as tight as you can and move down your body to your chest, your shoulders, your arms, your hands, your tummy, thighs, calves, and all the way down to your toes. Okay. And then once at your feet, take in one deep breath. And then as you breathe out, release all your tensed up muscles in reverse order. So starting by releasing the tension in your toes, your calves, your thighs, your tummy, your hands, arms, shoulders, chest, and face, all the way back up to the top. And you're going to keep repeating this from the top to the bottom to the top, until you hear that alarm. Okay. So I'm going to set the alarm again, and we'll start. Go ahead. Okay, that's that one. The third one we're going to do is called a heartbeat exercise. So with this one, I really want you to get your heart rate up. And here are a few options you can choose from. Of course, you can do whatever you prefer or what you like or what suits you. That's mover's choice, just as long as you are moving your body and focus on getting that heart rate up. So you could do things like jumping jacks, march in one place, walk or jog on the spot, or around the room, or even dance. You choose. I really want, and if you're unable to move, Just even stay seated in your chair and just move your legs up and down and possibly your arms. And we're going to do this for 50 minutes. So I'm going to set my timer for 50 minutes, or 50 minutes, 50 seconds. And I'm just setting my timer now. And then after 50 seconds, what I want you to do is close your eyes and pay attention to your breathing and just to your breath. So ready? I'm going to stand up. Here we go. Ready, set, go. It's a long 50 seconds. Okay, stop. I think I did it again where I did 50 minutes. So now what I'd like you to do is just concentrate, take a seat if you're not seated, and concentrate on, close your eyes, and just pay attention to your breath and your heartbeat. Okay, one more. This one's called Deep Breathing with Shapes. So what I'd like you to do is draw a triangle on a piece of paper. To demonstrate, I'm going to do the triangle in the air so that you can see what I'm doing. And if you want to draw your triangle in the air, and that's the way you choose to do it, feel free. So start at the bottom of your triangle, or whichever side you prefer. Breathe in for 3. While sliding your finger up to the top of your triangle, then hold for 3 as you slide your finger down the opposite side. Then breathe out for the count of 3 along the bottom of your triangle to complete the shape. So breathe in, hold for 3, out for 3. Okay, I'm going to set the timer for 1 minute. And then we'll begin. Ready, set, start. Okay. Wow. That's it. Now that you're all mindfulness and meditation gurus, take note of which one was your favorite and the one that you're going to keep practicing. So whenever you're noticing that you're feeling anxious or depressed, I invite you to try one of these. Okay, we're going to end our time together with one last skill. Oops, advance my slide here. Counting your blessings, or the little things to be grateful for. In fact, 24 little things to be grateful for, as you'll see in the video that's coming up. So research shows counting our blessings reorientates our focus onto the positives. It improves our mood, coping, and enables us to make more meaning in our lives. Looking for the positives is a useful tool in increasing our positivity. Research also shows us that people who counted their blessings one day a week expressed more gratitude and thankfulness and rated themselves happier than before. People who are consistently grateful are typically happier, more energetic, more hopeful, and report experiencing more frequent positive emotions. They also tend to be more helpful, empathetic, spiritual and religious, more forgiving and less materialistic. And there's more. The more a person is inclined towards gratitude, the less likely they are to be depressed, anxious, lonely, envious, or neurotic. Need I say more? So we're going to watch a short video which illustrates 20 little things that we can be grateful for. So fingers crossed, I'm able to play this with no hiccups. It seems to have stopped. So the video kind of stops out at the end there, but I think you get the idea. So I am just going to pull up my, oh, hang on a second as I switch screens. So it kind of, as I say, it kind of stopped short there, but we were getting pretty close to 24 little things that you can be grateful for, and they don't have to be big. So just take this moment just to think of, for yourself right now in this moment, what's something that you're grateful for? And remember, even the littlest of moments can have a huge impact. So just take a few minutes right now and just jot down on a piece of paper that you have handy, or even sit back and close your eyes and and think of something, one thing at least that you're grateful for. Perhaps you can come up with more, but at least one. For me, in this moment, one thing that I'm grateful for is the opportunity to be able to present this to more people. And that has a lot of meaning for me, and I count that as one of my blessings and something that I am grateful for. A little bit of research for you guys. Some people choose to do this daily, gratitude practice daily, and that's okay. But what the research actually shows us that it's best to practice gratitude 1 day a week. Some people are surprised by this, and we often get that in class, because really, wouldn't more of a good thing be even better? Actually, in this case, research tells us that when we do this skill daily, we adapt, we become bored with it, and it can even seem as a chore, something we just have to do. So to this end, it ends up losing its luster and effectiveness. So it's really, it's encouraged that people do this practice once a week as opposed to every day. To extend this practice even further, as with all the skills that Renee and I have shared here with you today, I invite you to share this skill, share what you're grateful for with the supportive listener or maybe listeners, and set this up as a weekly practice. Okay, wow. We covered a lot in a short space of time, in about 40 minutes. This is a crash course in happiness. So to recap all that you have learned with Renee, you had a chance to reflect on one of your own meaningful photos. You learned about the Alberta Happiness Basics program and positive psychology, and then you also experienced the what went well skill. With me, you reflected on and wrote about a positive experience or event. You learned 4 mindfulness practices in our Mindfulness Minute Blitz. And lastly, you had the opportunity to reflect on what you were grateful for. On behalf of the Red Deer Primary Care Network, Renee and I would like to thank you for joining. As Renee mentioned, I don't know if she mentioned this, but I'll mention it. We have several facilitators trained in all over Alberta. With the addition of virtual classes, it's even easier to find a happiness class near you. So if you're interested in learning more about this program or would like to register to take the class, you can contact your local primary care network. And just want to thank you for this opportunity to spread more happiness throughout Alberta.